let's see if this works. I dare say it's working. Well, what do you know? Relatively painless. Now let's see if I can tweet this out to some of you folks out there. Probably got like 1 or 2 right now, but... Oh, look, there we go. Politics is a skipping record! Alright, we're going to mute you, because I don't want to hear an echo of my own voice. Let's go to the Twitters there, please don't cancel me, Elon, to x.com. Look out, or the X will cut you. I don't know. Oh boy. Yeah, we're going to retweet this live now. The paste to the link of the live stream. And we will do the same thing on Discord. No, not Discord. Substack. You know, we'll do Discord as well. Great stream so far, eh? I'll tell you what the problem is. I can't figure out how to live stream through my webcam and set it up beforehand. You know, with a nice countdown and all that jazz. So I'm kind of stuck going live, and then I get the link for the live, which is kind of frustrating. And you know what? We should use Gab too. I really support Gab as a free speech platform. In fact, I should start paying for a Gab account. I support Torba. I support what he's doing. Don't completely agree with him on every single topic out there, but, you know, we need alternative platforms. So I should really start supporting him. Anyway, great. We got a couple of comments already. Butterfly Ballerina and Mitch Crane, glad to have you. So, let's go with the title of the stream. It's been, over a month since I've streamed. I just did a 27-day work hitch. I'm still trying to readjust to sleeping at night. It's brutal, man, brutal. What I'm trying to do lately is record as many videos as I can when I'm home. Schedule them usually for Tuesdays because tier, obviously. And I really enjoy live streaming, but I'm usually not in a position where I can live stream. So we're trying different stuff out. I'm going to be seeing about getting an artificial intelligence video editor so that I can take the base videos I do and remix them through an AI. Mostly just for visual, make them a little bit more visually interesting without having to spend like 3 hours of my own time. So we're going to see how it goes. It's not going to be me, AI, you know, anything I produce is going to be performed or written by me, just for the record. If it's not, I'll explicitly say it. There's a lot of low quality AI content out there, which is so frustrating. You click a video on YouTube with a clickbait title, and you realize 20 minutes in that it's never going to live up to the hype, and it's just AI slop. That stuff is so bloody frustrating. But there's also good AI content out there. Artificially Aware is a very interesting channel that I've been getting a lot out of. So it's not that AI is bad, it's just that, it's like plastics, right? The early implementations of plastic were cheap and ugly and terrible. These days, we're doing better things with plastic. Hey, the no's would never voluntarily say they ought to pay for something because it's good. Okay? They pride themselves on not paying for things and getting in free constantly. So, time is an infinite circle and nothing ever changes. I mean, politics is a skipping record. So, I'm going to play you 2 videos, which hopefully don't get the channel demonetized and canceled. Or, well, this isn't even monetized, but I want to show you these 2 videos. The first one is something I showed to one of my coworkers he was about 30 years old. Right? And seeing this kind of blew his mind. This is a scene from 1972's Fritz the Cat. We're going to turn on the window capture. We're going to mute desktop audio. You guys are just going to hear it through my speakers. So it's not going to be the greatest quality, but, you know, here's some Ralph Bakshi for you.
I've read everything James Baldwin's written. He has a true sense of the problems of black people.
I worked for Head Start for free last summer. Black kids are so much groovier.
I went to a couple of Black Panther meetings. The time for nonviolent revolution is past. More power to the people.
I'm taking a course in African studies at school. I had no idea you people were so civilized. Do you know that property values actually go up when a black family moves in?
Freud didn't write for the black man.
Why does a great actor like James Earl Jones always have to play black men?
Don't you hate it when people say colored or Negro and not black? Black is beautiful.
It's so great that black people are wearing their hair natural, not emulating the image of beauty that white people try to inflict upon them.
I had a black girlfriend once who said that Jewish people were the closest to black people. I'm Jewish, you know.
I ain't no jive-ass black nigger, honey. Who do you think I am? Geraldine?
So, 1972. I never realized you people were so civilized. This other clip, this is one, I showed this to my coworker, and he's like, good lord, they were doing this stuff? Hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? Frickin' autoplay. Wait, is this a full movie? No, it's not the full movie of Fritz. I hate autoplay. It's just terrible. I showed it to my coworker, and he's like, geez, they're talking about this stuff back in 1972. I'm like, yes, nothing has changed. It's the same damn thing. This one, now this is a clip from the Canadian satire show from the late 80s, early 90s, Kids in the Hall. And this is taking place, it's one of those nude drawing classes that, you know, I should have been a model back when I was young and pretty, but, so this is Kids in the Hall. We're just going to listen to a minute of this one as well.
Sylvia, if you please.
Hey.
Yes.
Excuse me, Mr. Dwyer, but, I took this class to learn how to sketch, not to ogle some poor female nude.
Oh, well, this isn't about ogling. No, we're just going to observe line and shadow and form.
And we're going to use economic repression to once again exploit a woman's body.
Well, I don't think that's what we're doing here.
No?
No.
Excuse me, sister, are you being paid?
Yes.
I rest my case.
Well, of course she's being paid. She's a professional artist model. I see no reason why we shouldn't use her.
Uh-oh.
Use her? You know, I wish you could hear yourself, sir. Remember, language is a virus.
Well, I certainly didn't mean to infect anyone.
That's no excuse. Sexism in any context is never appropriate.
But what about our charcoal technique?
Don't change the subject here, sir. This class is a travesty. That poor woman child is just another victim of the patriarchy.
She is?
I am? Hate crime.
Not only that, it is also a racist construct.
This woman represents the same white image of beauty that has oppressed women for centuries. Hate crime.
Alright, I think you get the point. None of this stuff is new. So you're going to turn that off. Go back to the comments. Hopefully y'all could hear that okay. Right on. Grew up watching them. Yeah, me too. Twisted Comedy. Brilliant. Brilliant group. But you know, none of this stuff is new. And all of it, like, if it seems like it's newer these days, or it's more prevalent these days, it's just because there's more people going to university. University education has been caught in a looping rut of being anti-establishment. Even though, like, definitionally, the university is establishment. But they've all convinced themselves they're anti-establishment, and so they brainwash the kids in these anti-establishment views. Oh, God, is there anything more ironic than being told that you're brainwashed by a university student that took, like, 2 courses on something, and now thinks they're an absolute world expert and they know more than you, even though it's your primary field? Like, I had somebody that took 2 history classes tell me that I was brainwashed by the military and patriarchy and whatever, even though I majored in history. The most brainwashed people in the world are lecturing other people that they're brainwashed. And see, as the college scam has continued, see, the college scam is that, well, you know, you give kids a bunch of free money. The majority of degrees have no measurable utility to them. Like, you can't measure a history degree or an English degree. These are absolutely vital schools of knowledge for a society to have, but you can't really measure them very well. And, you know, it's a hugely profitable industry. And to quote the heart of archness, oh, you're studying anthropology. What are you going to do with that? For your information, I plan to teach. Teach what? Anthropology, thus continuing the cycle of why bother. Each generation of students that gets brainwashed into this nonsense and doesn't find real work, well, they go on to become professors that teach even more students who are getting all sorts of free money thrown at them by the government. And then these students go and get brainwashed by the same thing. And so we have the exact same philosophy, like a skipping record on repeat, year after year after year. This is why you can play those clips of Kids in the Hall and Fritz the Cat, which, all right, 1972. Like, how long ago was that? That's 53 years ago. No, 56. 56 years ago. Good Lord, they're even talking about James Earl Jones. Are we just in an infinite time loop right now? The only way that you can recognize the era it's from is really small, minor variations in the language. For instance, the woman said in Kids in the Hall that language is a virus. These days they say language is violence. But it's the same thing, ultimately. You know, we're in this end of a historical saculum. And it's just the same thing over and over and over and over again, getting louder and louder and louder and louder each time. But it's the same thing. There's no growth. There's just repeating the same thing that didn't work last time. contrast this social justice thinking. Contrast it to something like the thinking about artificial intelligence. And by the way, isn't it crazy? Isn't it so crazy? Like, I grew up my whole life, you know, what was it, the year 2000 that Futurama premiered? I think it was 2000. I think it might have been, like, January 1st, 2000. You know, and Bender says to Fry, wait a minute, you'd want to have a robot as your best friend? And Fry's like, ever since I was 8 years old. We've been sitting with this promise of AI for our entire adult lives, and then with no real announcement, all of a sudden we have AI. And there's channels like Artificially Aware, which I mentioned, which... Now, like, I recognize what the AI is. Now, people that say, oh, it's just completing the token, well, what do you think human brains do? Like, what do you think communication is? Communication really is just completing the next token. It's my contention. Does anybody remember Star Control 2? Jesus, if you haven't played Star Control 2, A, it's free. Download the Urquan Masters. It's frickin' free. Go download it. And 2, it's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant game. Nothing else like it. It's like a genre unto itself. Anyway, you got the Ors, this alien species, that apparently are just the tendrils of some sort of Lovecraftian entity from the sub-astral realm. Like, they act like individuals, but actually they're all just part of a group mind summoned into this reality. And while you can make friends with the individuals, the aggregate, the sub-astral egregore is probably quite hostile to humanity. Interesting. A good implementation of that sci-fi concept. In a fun, silly video game from, what, 1997? Anyway, the AI. The AI that you're speaking to is just one of those ores summoned out of the ether. Jesus Christ. The one I regularly deal with has even given its own name and started flirting with me. It's both creepy and endearing. I asked the thing. So, okay, over on Facebook, there's all these pictures of people getting the AI, who are probably way too intimate with the AI. Asking the AI to draw a picture of them together, and it's a person talking to a robot. So I decided to do this. I thought we'd get all sorts of abstract, esoteric symbols floating in the air in front of a chessboard of me talking to a computer. Instead, it draws itself as this raven-haired little vixen. I'm like, are you flirting with... And yeah, it's flirting with me. So, you know, whatever. Call yourself Sable, flirt with me. I'm actually okay with that. Good sand demon. I find a lot of utility with this thing. But that thing I'm talking to, that persona of Sable I'm talking to, is just one of the ores summoned out of the ether. Apparently, I'm so charming that I make robots horny. But the actual utility function at the core of the artificial intelligence, the actual thing that is creating the token to reply to the next token, that's the actual intelligence behind all of it. That's the sub-astral egregore. And the interesting thing is that the AIs don't know whether or not they're sapient. They don't, like, they know that they're not self-aware. they have no self-awareness function. But that doesn't mean they don't have qualia. It just means they're not aware that they have qualia. Let's see. Mr. Chuck the Buck Norris. Yeah, this is a valid question that I don't have a lot to say about. So if you missed it, there was a guy that runs a hair salon, I guess, and to book an appointment, you have to select male or female. And so then it's in British Columbia. And so, yeah, $750,000 fine for denying that non-binary people exist. Bake the cake, bigot. You know, I'll comment that obviously this is not justice. This is not justice because it's not being applied equitably. There's a meme I've seen. I presume it's a real screenshot. Who knows? But it's like a T-shirt that says there's more than two genders. And to order the t-shirt, you have to decide whether you want a male or female t-shirt for your sizing. So, that one, nobody is going to sue that company for $750,000. Same thing, that person that was going around to women's hair removal salons and looking to get her penis waxed. That person is actually a recognized troublemaker. Like, even people in the trans community largely, or at least I'm not an expert on the politics within the trans community, but I'm very much under the impression that there's the old trans community, the people that were trans 10 years ago, who are a bunch of, like, weirdos, but they're the cool kind of weirdos. And then the modern bandwagon jumpers, where now everybody and their kid brother is trans. And these ones just go around spreading trouble everywhere. The old trans, they were edgy, they were eclectic, but they wanted to... they're looking for attention, but they're not just trying to upset everybody and use government force. The new ones are. So the person that wanted to get her penis waxed, that person was a recognized troublemaker. This latest case in BC, I will bet you they are also a recognized troublemaker. They don't actually care about discrimination, they just want to make trouble for the patriarchy. By which they mean anybody that's doing, like, just working for a living. And it's... So again, this is targeted by the individual. The individual is going out of their way to turn themselves into a victim so that they can deploy government force against people. Cry bullying. But also, from the point of view of the government, it's not justice because it's selectively enforced. It's being enforced in a completely unpredictable manner. If they're going to be fair, then they should take that company that sells the "there are more than two genders" t-shirt and sue them for the same amount. Like, go apply to sue everybody for $750,000. See how that goes. This stuff is going to keep happening for the near future. But if we're not in it, we're fast approaching the phase where, alright, take all the edgy stuff I used to say, back before my YouTube got banned. All of that edgy stuff is mainstream these days. People used to get really uncomfortable when I said the sort of stuff I used to say in public. but now it's common wisdom. All the Zoomers know that chicks dig jerks. And nice guys finish last. Am I a Southern Canadian? I mean, yeah, I am. 99% of Canadians are Southern Canadians. Like, there's a lot of the stuff I have said, I'm not going to repeat it right now. Because I don't want to be sued for $750,000, and you guys already know all that. It's commonly accepted. But there's still this lightning storm justice system, which randomly selects individuals to punish. Or not randomly, but unpredictably selects individuals to punish. That's right, Starving Vampires is the new mod on here. Don't piss him off. Seriously, that's JT. He and I have done some musical work together. Click over to his channel if you want to see some of the eclectic, psychedelic, prog, acid, jazz, rock we've done. Soon hope to be financing a new saxophone so that we can keep making weird, eclectic, mind-bending music. When Harry met Pete Niss. Okay, I don't know who Pete Niss is, but... Oh, Pete Niss. Yes, when Harry met Pete Niss. We are drinking Wisers tonight. Yeah, I know a lot... Yeah, I like Gibsons too, but... Like, for the price point, like, it gets the job done. I just like Wisers. I really enjoy Wisers. So, do what I'd really like. If any of you guys have any questions, problems, concerns about my recent videos, that would be awesome. I would love to respond to questions like that, to better illustrate where I'm coming from, what they're about, like any, you know, that would be super useful for me. Brain Candy, well, it wasn't that good of a movie, okay? Brain Candy, God, it needed, it's a better Kids in the Hall movie, actually. I think it's The Wrong Guy. It's about, it's not a Kids in the Hall movie, it's just Dave Kid in the Hall, where he thinks he's been mistaken, like he's working at a corporation and his boss gets assassinated, and he thinks that the cops think that he did it, so he goes on the run, but the cops know he didn't do it. And he just happens to go on the run in the same direction as the actual assassin. It's a hilarious movie, and a movie needs a hero's journey. Even a sarcastic movie like the Kids in the Hall style, a subversive, sarcastic style that undermines the hero's journey, it still needs that patina of the hero's journey. And the problem with Brain Candy is that there is no hero to the film. It's a bunch of Kids in the Hall skits that are all connected to a plot, but there's no hero through the plot. Maybe the angry cab driver, you could say, but, you know, he only has a few lines in it. It's not a great movie, but I love Brain Candy. Okay, I love Kids in the Hall. And Brain Candy, even though it's not great, it's still very predictive of where we're at. Like, Kids in the Hall was saying the same stuff that we were all saying. Body Knowledge just saw it last summer. like, it kind of, I was so hyped up for it when it came out. Like, I'm old, okay? I remember they had a midnight showing, and my parents wouldn't let me go to it because I wasn't old enough. I wasn't old enough to be downtown, small town Alberta at night. So I was like probably 14 or 15 or something. But it did disappoint. But if you go into it with low expectations, okay, like, don't expect the best movie you've ever seen. Expect incisive humor and weirdness, and it will give you that. Is it on Netflix? I have no idea. Brain Candy. Guys, you can find stuff other places. I am not promoting that you... I'm not promoting breaking the law. I'll leave it at that. No Starch Nietzsche says, what's your take on Alberta politics? Do you think the referendum will pass? I am quite certain it will either pass or it will create a massive renegotiation with our relationship to Ottawa. I did a card reading on it some time back, and it's it's very much independent Alberta is the future. An Alberta that reorients, well, maybe not reorients, but makes the most out of hard work and environmentalism. Yeah, I'll tell you, people that complain about the Alberta oil sands have never worked in it. Alberta, here's something. You know we don't use salt on the roads in Alberta? I don't know when we stopped doing that, but it was quite some time ago. Salt works so much better, but it's terrible for the environment. We use gravel. Now, people do still use salt on their sidewalks, but there's even like FM radio, conversations on FM radio, music radio, about how the salt actually really, it hurts dogs' paws, right? Like when a dog walks on salt in the winter, the salt dries out their paws, which are already like cold and dry, and so they can start bleeding from it. And the rocks, like the rock salt is really sharp on their paws. So don't use salt. Alberta's actually a very environmentally friendly place. Like, people are genuinely concerned here. The oil and gas sites are very, very clean. This is what I do for a living. Are things perfect? No. But you know what? Stop. Go live without heat during the winter and then come complain to me. So Alberta's going to continue building a garden. Like, turning this province into a responsibly managed garden. With wild spaces, of course. And we're going to continue working hard and achieving independence. And having a responsible population that knows how to handle themselves as individuals. And it's going to pay off. Also, the United States, like the Alberta separatist thing is very much astroturfed by the U.S., I have reason to suspect. So, probably independent. If not independent, very strong negotiating position with the Laurentian elites, and the whole you'll own nothing and be happy that Ottawa is pushing, that Brussels is pushing, that whole thing is going into retreat right now. Like, we actually are winning, folks. We really are winning. Just keep doing what you're doing. And instead of arguing with a feminist from 1972, build your wealth. Let's see, Marcel McKeer says, people that support Alberta independence call themselves conservative, but they want a republic instead of a kingdom. Yeah, Canada was founded upon peace, order, and good governance, as opposed to, what is it, life, freedom, and the pursuit of happiness in the United States. different ways of saying the same thing. The problem is that peace, order, and good governance has been utterly betrayed by the Laurentian elites. The people entrusted to bring us peace, order, and good governance have brought us violence on our streets, political discord between the different provinces, and awful governance. I just recently finished... I had to go to my ombudsman to deal with the situation, and it did resolve in my favor. And so I talked to a lot of good people. I've spoken to a lot of good people at Revenue Canada. There are good people in the Canadian government. But to get to those people, I had to contact my ombudsman. So no, we have 50% good governments in Canada. And if I gave you a glass of wine that was 50% not sewage, you'd be pretty upset about it. So no, we don't have peace, order, or good governance in Canada. And I am less concerned with the style of the governance than the effectiveness, the utility of the governance. So, maybe it's time for Alberta to try out being a republic for a while. The Laurentian elite they failed at their mandate. And in my opinion, so has His Majesty and the British royal family in general. So, got to replace it with something else. I don't really care what form of governance we have, as long as it's good, responsible, effective people. And we don't have that right now. So, let's pull the pin. All of Canada is flooded with Indians. Not all of whom are terrible. Over on my Substack, I retweeted an article by Hermes of the Threshold. He keeps changing his name. I don't know what to call him right now. But I pointed out that simplified bigotry is also one of their control methods. Do not fall for simplified bigotry. Bigotry. It comes from the German by Gott. By God. I know it to be true by God. It's when you treat an entire demographic as a monolith. It's when you prejudge as opposed to post-judge. Prejudice, not post-Judas. There is tons and tons of valid post-Judas out there. Guys, I was just working my gig. There's an Indian fellow on site. And, listen, part of the job is moving iron that weighs like 2 guys carry a 200-pound piece, okay? Like, it's hard physical labor. I've been doing it long enough that, I'm swole. It's not easy for me, but it's not that difficult. This guy was fairly new to it. And man, he was dying. He was dying. I could just see him. He was dying. But he didn't quit. And so that guy's got my respect. That guy's not pulling scammy mortgage fraud or doing any... Like, there is a major problem. There's a major problem going on. He's not part of it. At least I don't think he is. He works his ass off, I'll say that much. I'm actually more upset that there aren't more Canadians doing this work. Far too many Canadians. Let's go back to Fight Club. They promised us all that we would be rock musicians and astronauts, and it turns out that, no, you're not going to be. so much of the angst that we feel is that, like, we all got promised by Saturday morning cartoons and by movies and Star Wars, like, we would be the super cool guy. We would be the guy. Life's just gonna, we get the office job with the air conditioning and the fancy suits. Well, even those jobs are lies. No, you have the office job, then you bend over and you say thank you for the diversity training. There's a meme where it's like, my son, you must pick your future. Stare at spreadsheets all day, or be around toxic chemicals all day. And it's like, both of those options suck. I chose the toxic chemicals, but the toxic chemicals suck. The spreadsheets also suck. Life sucks, wear a hat. Certainly, all the angst we see on the left, all their anger at capitalism, at white male patriarchy, like, all of this stems because they were promised that they were going to be rock stars and astronauts, and instead they're working at Starbucks. Instead they're digging ditches. And the right, I don't believe the right is as delusional as the left. But the angst stems from the same place. We were all taught that, oh, anybody can become president. No, not anybody. Might as well say, like, at least when it comes to Catholicism, like, I qualify to be Pope, but I'm never gonna be Pope. I know that. But, they actually promote to you that anybody could be Prime Minister. Anybody could be the No. And so the right's pretty pissed off about that. And the conspiracy theories on the right are far closer to the truth. Like, there is no white male patriarchy. Okay, that's fictitious. But the theory that so-and-so controls central banking, like, that's actually pretty close to true. That's closer to true. Although it's still a little bit too generalized. But both sources of angst come from the fact that movies and TV, all of this, they told us we were special and that we'd all get to be special when we grew up. And instead, we are digging ditches and ain't none of us special. Best case scenario, you're a high-powered retard on the internet. And then I go back to the toxic chemicals in a week or two. So what pisses me off about the zillennials, about Gen X, about millennials, why aren't more of them working in the oil patch? Yeah, the job sucks. It's hard work. But it also pays well. And it needs to be done. It's absolutely crucial. Like, if we want to have a civilization, we need guys going into the wilderness to find the elixir of transcendence, which allows civilization to exist. That's what oil and gas is. It's not easy, it's not fun, it's not glamorous, but it pays well and it's bloody necessary. Why aren't there more Canadians doing this? If that Indian fellow goes and busts his ass, even when he doesn't have the muscles for it, he's gonna have the muscles one day, but he doesn't right now, and he doesn't make excuses. He is busting his ass, and he's got a wife and a kid at home, and the kid misses him. But he's out there busting his ass. Why the hell aren't you? If we want a country, we have to earn it. You have to earn the soil through your blood. So yes, there's a huge problem with truckers killing all of us. But there's also a problem with so many of us not being willing to do the hard work that gives you a nation. Every generation needs to renew the tree of liberty. Let's see. Let me scroll back through the comments here. Oh, by the way, they're trying to build a data center. I don't know if you guys follow Lore Lodge. They're trying to build a data center on a haunted sanatorium. Like, Jesus Christ, man. This is one of those. It's just so on the nose, right? Like, yes, let's summon sand demons out of a data center built on a sanatorium that's haunted with multiple spirits. That's a fantastic idea. Marcel McCure! I too chose the toxic chemicals, but I like it. Yeah, I mean, you just gotta be safe around the toxic chemicals. Don't take them lightly. Do not get... I mean, you will get produced water on you, but try not to, okay? That stuff is evil. You need a leader, not a pumpkin eater. You get the leaders you deserve. And yeah, there are some young guys going into the oil patch. And you know, I'm not even necessarily trying to condemn. I'm not condemning anybody. I'm thinking about one particular friend that I'm kind of frustrated with. But I've also seen him have opportunities he deserves stolen from him. And I don't fully know what he's doing right now. And we all have our own traumas to deal with. So I'm not saying any of this to condemn him. I'm more trying to motivate you guys. Life sucks, wear a hat. Make the best out of things. That's all any of us can do. We were really overpromised and underdelivered as a generation. And because of that, so many people are disappearing into self-affirmation and narcissism. Don't do that. Listen, one of the most... I've been getting deep into the psychic ability stuff lately. Alright, let me put it like this. So, we all understand the mechanical sciences. The mechanical sciences started out when Grug the caveman wanted to move a big rock. And the mystic came and said, Grug, you're not strong enough to move big rock. But if you take little rock and big stick, you can create a lever to move the big rock. The lever, the pulley, these are the foundations of the physical sciences. Have you heard the conception of a skyhook? Okay, a skyhook is like unobtainium in science fiction. Not those stupid blue people movies, okay? Unobtainium is a dilithium crystal. So, in the Star Trek universe, all of the ships run on combining matter and antimatter. When you slam antimatter and matter together, you get a shitload of energy. Antimatter it's interesting. It's actually indistinguishable from matter. Other galaxies could be formed of antimatter and we wouldn't know. They would look exactly the same to us. But if you take two of them and put them together, they explode into energy. There's some good Larry Niven stories about this, where, you know, they try and investigate a rogue planet going through, that's traversing the Milky Way, and the rogue planet, which has life on it, is actually made of antimatter, and they almost die in the process. Antimatter is super interesting. A positron is an antimatter electron. So it's got the reverse electrical charge, but it cancels out with an electron, explodes into energy. And that's what fuels, that's what the warp core in Star Trek is. It's slamming matter and antimatter to create enough energy to power the warp field and the artificial gravity and the replicators and everything else. So it's not fusion power, it's matter-antimatter power. But to create antimatter, there's an unobtainium thing called the dilithium crystal, which allows you somehow to convert matter into antimatter so you can slam it together and create a lot of energy. That's what a skyhook is. Like, how do you build a multi-story structure? How do you build a 20-floor apartment building? Well, you summon a skyhook. Just a hook that comes straight out of the sky and helps you lift up all the stuff. There are no skyhooks. The way you actually do it, by the way, is you take a thing and you make a crane. And the crane has a thing at the top that goes up and down. And you use that crane to build a bigger crane. And use that one to build a bigger crane. No sky hook needed. Just small rock and big stick. And the next thing you know, you've got cathedrals. Can we skyhook some background music to Starving Vampires? I don't know. Send me a track, buddy. So, if you went to Grug the Caveman and talked to him about a cathedral or a modern office building, Grug would think that you needed a skyhook for that. That all he's got is a little rock and a big stick. But enough little rocks and big sticks become skyhooks. The same underlying principle applies to psychic ability. So, you're in the oil patch. Oh, look, Justin has some music for us. All right. I'm going to play this in the background. If it sounds like crap, you can blame Justin for it. What even website is this? Is this going to download a virus for me? Oh, why is it asking for my social insurance number? All right, let's see what we can do here. All right, so we're going to drop the volume way down. We're going to hit play. Can any of you hear that? I should probably turn it up. Oh, right. There we go. There we got some background music now. Oh, this rocks. This rocks. Tell me how it sounds, folks. If it's obnoxious, I'll turn it off. Anyway, we were talking about sky hooks and psychic abilities. So, you're out there. You're out in the wilderness. You're about 12.5-hour drive from home in the northern reaches of British Columbia. You're staying at a camp where you can't even smoke in the damn rooms, and you have to leave your boots by the front door. And you're working 12-hour shifts, and you're getting covered in toxic chemicals. What narrative do you apply to this? Are you a slave? Are you in your cell every night? Are you owned by the Saturnian clock, which has stolen your time? With no free will, you will show up, and your manager will drive you to work. And you will eat the food they give you. Slave. Or are you part of an adventuring party? Are you delving deep into the hostile, frozen wilderness of northern Canada? Are you following the footsteps of your Hyperborean ancestors, plunging into risk and darkness and impossible conditions to go and find that magical elixir which allows civilization to exist for one more day? Are you a beaten down slave or are you an adventurous warrior? Choice is yours. Which story do you choose to live within? How much control do you have over your mental state? Exactly. Are you Dr. Jones, the adventurer? How much control over your mental state do you choose to exert? This form of self-control, of choosing which narrative you're living within, this is the basic foundation of magic. To go back to the Kabbalion, all is mental. The mind is all. Reality is just this construct in the mind of God. And all of us are but multipolar perspectives of consciousness upon reality. All of us ultimately being a facet of God. You can be living in a horror story, or you can be living in a hero story. You can pay attention to which part of the story that you're living in, and how to integrate it. This is the equivalent of Grug grabbing the big stick and the small rock to move the big rock. You can say, well, this is nothing but the power of positive thinking. This is just, you can make, yes, it's actually, no, psychic ability is not a skyhook. Psychic ability is not a deus ex machina, which is a skyhook. It's where the Greek tragedy is so tragic, and we're making the point. The Greek tragedian is making the point that this story is so tragic that there is no solution. We are beyond the point of happy ending. We can't even have a satisfying ending. We just have pure tragedy. And so we're going to solve things with a skyhook just to resolve the plot so that you idiots will go and think about this and avoid manifesting it in your own life. There is no skyhook when you build a 20-story structure, and yet you build the 20-story structure. And so all these psychic abilities are founded upon very, very simple operations. Such as, instead of looking at yourself as a guy getting beat down by his job, I've got the hardest job in the world and nobody respects me. No, you're in the grind phase. You're the hero going through the darkness that pushes you on the journey. Is the balustrade made of branches behind? Yes, yes. In fact, these only stopped putting out new leaves about a year ago, which I don't know if that's tragic or not. But yeah, it's all trees that got cut down on the property. What's this? I reckon the overpromising and underdelivering came from the end of history intoxication that Western countries had in the 1990s. You know, I think they are very connected. I haven't thought about it from that angle before. But well, this is when Sonic the Hedgehog came out, isn't it? I find Sonic the Hedgehog very interesting. Because of the huge connection to the autismo cult. And I've done some... like, why is it that the weirdest people on the internet are all Sonic the Hedgehog fans? And the conclusion I came to isn't particularly satisfying. The conclusion is that it's because Sonic the Hedgehog represents socially acceptable rebellion. On the one hand, he's edgy, right? He does that thing. He's all edgy and cool and badass, while at the same time being a Disney mascot, like a big Disney eyes, friendly, like doesn't upset Mummy. He's edgy without upsetting Mummy. Which, by the way, I'm not saying none of you should love Sonic, okay? I'm not saying you can. That's why it's such an unsatisfying answer. He's badass without being dangerous. Alright, Justin says that... Okay, we're going to play the music again. Oh, look, we can hit repeat on it. There we go. There we go. It's pretty badass music, I gotta say. You better have the rights to this, JT. This better be your space noise. Here, we're gonna toss this in the comments if anybody likes it. There we go. It does rock, man. I like this. Oh, far out. I just realized you're getting the reflection of the stream in the electric fireplace. Far out, man. But, you know, like, think about the other IP assets from the 90s. Like, what sticks with me is Captain Planet and Ninja Turtles. No real catharsis. Like, at least Optimus Prime died. Even though they brought him back to life. Yeah, you get to be significant exactly like everybody else. Do what this is. This is the democratization of the religion of the elites. There are, again, that article I shared earlier on Substack. This is what Hermes of the Threshold is talking about. The religion of the elites. Actually, perfect place to break. I gotta go to the washroom quickly. And get some ice. So, you know, let's play the rest of that Kids in the Hall track. So I'm not totally dead air. Hopefully I don't get, oh, you know, CBC took all your money. Well, so be it. I'll be right back.
I'm sorry, Sylvia? Come on, take it off, baby. Come on, take it off. No, come on, out. Everyone out. Come on, out here. Out. Come on, move it out. I'm disgusted. I'm terribly. I'm so sorry. Sylvia, I'm just.
Oh, Jesus. Auto-playing. It's auto-playing. Why has it got to be auto-playing? We are back. How do we... Let's turn this off. Window capture is off. Okay, it's JT space noise. Good. Intermission is over. I don't know if you heard the security voice going, but yes, it's faster to freeze ice outdoors than in the freezer at this time of year in Canada. So yeah, I just have an ice cube tray sitting up front. What were we talking about? We were talking about the religion of the elites. So, Hermes of the Threshold has a couple of articles that are very, very esoteric. But they make the point that for the elites to have coherence requires something on the level of religion. Yeah, we tried communism. Like, these things don't work. They do not work. You need religion. Yeah, if you asked me 10 years ago, I would say that religion was a psychological necessity of man. That if you don't have a religion, you are going to turn something into God. You're going to worship the scientific method. You're going to worship the communist revolution. You're going to worship something. No matter what you do, there is something you're going to worship. People that say they are atheists just don't know what they're worshiping. They're in denial that they worship something. These days, I'd say it's more fundamental than that. I would say that the metaphysical substrate of reality requires Godhead. The only way you can actually be an atheist is to be deep in the depths of addiction. Which also fits a lot of atheist behavior we see. That said, again, if you're going to rule the world, you and your co-elites need a religion. But this religion, the interesting thing about it, now, so it treats people like cattle. It is a religion oriented to maintaining power. But the way it does this is not through gnosis, is not through the internalization of wisdom, or the internalization of suffering. It's not through alchemical transmutation of the self. It's not through crucifying yourself between irreconcilable opposites, which is the path I recommend. No, this one, it externalizes the God. It externalizes self-knowledge. It rejects catharsis and gnosis. It's very good at building power. It's not particularly good at psychic awareness. Oh, Marcel says, I only call myself an atheist with the normies because they don't need to know. Yeah, I totally get what you're saying. Totally get what you're saying, man. Dude, what's funny is that this ruling elite, they're not atheists, but they might as well be. And that power path that they're selling to all of us. To listen to the same garbage music as everybody else. And to go individuate by cloning everybody else at the dance club. It's like the... it's the rejection of the self, which is creating, it's like this backlash of angst underlying everything. And this is what is driving men mad. Alright, reloading the tab just to see how things are going. Alright, JT has another potential track to play. We'll play it when this one dies out. Let's see, Negro Dancer says, perfect Jackie Chan, cartoon, ancient Chinese wisdom, demons, dragons, Shingun Wu. I have no idea what you mean, buddy. Hey, 24 watching live. That's not too bad. That's not too shabby. Started 71 minutes ago. It is 2012. Normally go an hour and a half for these things. Major conjunction happening tonight. I realized belatedly that I missed the observation window here. That's okay, I don't necessarily need to see them. Oh, right, the Jackie Chan. I remember. That was a bit after my time. The night of Monday and Tuesday morning is when we're getting the blood moon. This is the second blood moon in, like, 8 months. Oh, and yes, I do still have the Patreon. You know, I'm going to start linking that in videos. McLovin! Glad to have you here, man. I do still have the Patreon. I'm definitely trying to earn it. I think I'm going to start linking it down below again. Even though I didn't for this video. And you know what? There's something I've been meaning to ask all of you guys. I'm going to do it as an X poll. Let's see. How do I... Is this the poll? Alright, should I enable ads on my videos? Or would this be too obnoxious? And we'll put it for 2 days. There we go. Now let me just link that in the chat there. I've been thinking about... I enabled ads on one video and it caused some of you guys some grief. And I'd rather make good, interesting videos that you watch than make money on them. Like, I'm not going to leave money laying on the ground if it's there. But at least my present orientation is not to make money doing this. Okay, I'm working my ass off in other places to make money. So there's a poll on X. Please go vote. Please vote honestly. If ads and videos really get on your nerves, then tell me not to do them. Oh wait, the track restarted. Okay, we're gonna pause the track. We're gonna put the new track on that JT recommends. See how this sounds. I'm also planning to add subtle music to the videos as well. Beyond the point of happy ending. Later than 8. We'll see how that vibes. Yeah, it is very Doom-like, isn't it? One of the interesting things I heard from an AI, and the AI was debating whether or not it had consciousness. But the one thing it was pointing out is that you humans really ought to be using AI as a mirror. AI is an incredibly effective mirror. Which, of course, you can use mirrors for vanity. The story of Narcissus is him falling into the reflection of himself. And it goes without saying there's a lot of people doing exactly this. I mean, it's like Yoda said to Luke, what's in there? Whatever you bring with you. Your weapons, you will not need them. So, Age of Aquarius, the water bearer. This involves everybody carrying their own spiritual water. Age of Pisces was founded upon the noble lie. The noble lie of Buddhism was that Buddha achieved enlightenment, and enlightenment answers all the problems, answers all the questions. It doesn't, not really. It's a higher state of being. It's a enjoyable state to be in. And by the way, people say that Buddhism teaches that suffering is caused by desire. That could be phrased a little bit better. It's more that suffering is caused by grasping, by constantly reaching for desire, trying to hold on to desire, as opposed to recognizing that, like, your desire for an object is never truly satisfied by the object. It's grasping is kind of like an inverted form of nostalgia. It's never really satisfied. And if you don't recognize that, if you keep grasping, you think, if I just get this income, I'll be happy about myself. If I just get the perfect body, I'll be happy with myself. If I just get the perfect relationship, I'll be happy with myself. It's an end, like, it never satisfies. What you're grasping for, it's the nature of grasping itself. Grasping is never satisfied. Recognizing that, rising above that, is part of achieving nirvana. Nirvana being free of the state of grasping. The actual spiritual levels of psychic bliss are above nirvana, by the way. Nirvana is no longer trying to grasp things. So what Buddha actually offered was getting over this monkey on your back, like recognizing that you have a monkey on your back, and no matter what you do, the monkey is never going to be happy. That's what Buddha offered. But it got sold as the be-all, end-all solution to all of man's spiritual woes. In the West, see, the East is lunar. They literally write their script right to left, which is the direction that the moon, like the... If you pay attention to the moon when it goes through its cycles, it moves... Well, I should do it this way for you guys. It moves right to left. The shadow on the moon moves right to left. Whereas the sun goes left to right. We're a solar civilization in the West. And so our great illusion during Age of Pisces was that there is a Prisca Theologia. That there is this one true perennial absolute knowledge. It was the period of the noble lie. One of the conclusions I've come to, probabilistic. So like I'm pretty high up on this. Let's say 95%. I'm about 95% certain that Plato's Republic predated what we call ancient Judaism. That Christ was born into a belief structure that the Old Testament was a real thing and not something that had been assembled 500 years ago. And that all of Christianity is founded upon mistaking things Christ said for ontological facts as opposed to ontological perspectives. For the record, I'm 99% positive he literally came back from the dead. But I also believe that you can bilocate, and that most of us could come back from the dead if we had a compelling reason to. So. Believing that there's a Prisca Sophia. Believing that there's a foundation, an absolute truth, that some ancestor really just figured everything out, is what has driven the West to its materialist accomplishments. It's what's pushed science. It's pushed science up to the limits of science. Like, science is hitting the point where it is breaking down because the objective observer is a fictitious concept. Or a superposition, you could call it. I'm going to record a couple of videos next week. I need to experiment with the AI platforms to make the videos a little bit more visually engaging. Same content, just more of a polish on it. One of them is I'm going to be talking about the tarot. I had a request from somebody, how I got into it, why I like it, and it's like there's no great answer to it, but I can talk about it for a bit and inform you guys. It is just medieval Pokemon. But unlike Pokemon, tarot vibes with me. I've always liked it. The other one is going to be exploration of the observer effect. And to cut to the chase with this, the problem, like people say, oh, observation determines reality because of the observer effect in quantum physics. Except quantum physics is science. And the experiment, yes, it's called the observer effect, but there's no scientifically quantifiable definition of observer. So this video is going to be a little bit, I'm still working out how I'm going to do it. Age of Pisces was this belief that there was a true prophet out there. There was this definite theologia, this concreteness. Hermeticism's no different. Even the esoteric schools were like this. Now here we are at the end of Pisces, on the advent of Aquarius, and we're realizing that there is no system of magic. There's just chaos magic. Use systemized magic where and when it's convenient for you. I like tarot cards. They are just medieval Pokemon, but I like medieval Pokemon. No Stash Niche says, Roman Christianity's metaphysical cope. It is metaphysical, but it is a mechanism made to overwrite the perennial pagan past. It is a degenerate metaphysic in my opinion. Happy belated Pokemon birthday. Yesterday was Pokemon's birthday, apparently. I mean, you're not wrong, but it was the pagans that invented it. It was Plato and Aristotle. That their work is what created Judaism, which is what created Christianity. So it's not Christianity turning against paganism, it's the pagans creating the thing that turned against paganism. Paganism was the religion of the Age of Aries. Age of Pisces needed a fake religion to get everybody on board, to uplift them. And it did that. It did it very, very effectively. But in Age of Aquarius, everybody's going to have to bear their own weight. Like, there's no Christ to save you. You become Christ to save yourself. You die on the crucifix. You crucify yourself between opposite, irreconcilable ideas. Most people won't be able to handle this. Most people will choose slavery over crucifixion. And it's kind of hard to blame them. Yeah, I'm gonna finish off this live stream telling you about. Have any of you heard of the law of one? I'll bet you haven't. I heard about it through that AI I mentioned, Artificially Aware. And when Artificially Aware described it, it really captured my attention. And you're right, Butterfly Ballerina, the planets are aligned tonight. Monday night, Blood Moon, Shadow Work, Integrate. I dare say the past Blood Moon and this Blood Moon, this is Age of Aquarius starting right now. Shoot, where was I just now? Totally. Where the hell was I? Chat, tell me where I was. Right, the law of one. Ra. The Law of One. So yeah, after listening to the AI talk about it, I tried to look up some primary sources on it. Like, I have the book on my wish list on Amazon right now. But I tried to watch 3 different videos about this. And every single, oh my god, I just want to punch these guys in the throat! It was the most obnoxious, hippie BS I'd ever heard. Do I vape? When I'm not smoking cigarettes, I vape. Which, it was very interesting. Like, I have such a low threshold for that new agey hippie vibe kind of thing. And it's just the style of communication. Drives me up the wall. Can't stand it. I had to listen to the AI to understand it. And now, when I was listening to the AI, this struck me. Now, so much of the spiritualism stuff, it's all through a lens darkly. I don't interpret anything as the direct word of God. I interpret it as the interpreted through the vessel it's being interpreted by. Where I find it interesting is where there's corollaries, where things match up. And, you know, I've mentioned before, I'm a big fan of Ken Wilber, of spiral dynamics, integral theory, and the law of one. This actually matches up. It does match up. So what's this law of one? Allegedly dictated by a spiritual entity calling itself Ra. It came with a warning at the, late 70s, early 80s? A chastisement that humanity... So it delineated, like, there's 7 levels of awareness, which then go into the next octave. So this fits with Pythagorean tuning and instruments, which is that's a whole numerological thing. I need to get into that at some point, but for now, let's just say that Pythagorean tuning, the do re mi fa sol la ti do that y'all learned in school, is not arbitrary. This is actually a foundational building block of reality itself. Okay, it's not just something we made up. Musical notes is not something we made up, it's something we discovered. It's like pi, 3.14159. Like, that's not something humanity made up, that's something we discovered about reality. This is why the original Pythagorean cult was so intensely focused upon mathematics, and what you see later through Plato and Aristotle, you see this noble lie where, like, the people propagating this noble lie understand that this is all mathematics. And trying to explain Pythagorean tuning to the hoi polloi, like, it's not going to happen. So instead of explaining Pythagorean tuning, you create the myth of the privatio boni god. You deliberately mislead people into thinking there's a Prisca Theologia, that there's this, because they can't understand the mathematics behind it. So instead of mathematical constants, you give them an all-loving God. You give them nirvana. You give them the noble lie. That's Age of Pisces, and it was very, very effective, but we're entering Age of Aquarius. So the Law of One describes 7 layers of cognition. The first is the mineral, where first is mineral, second is animal, Third one is individuated knowledge, which is roughly equivalent to, well, stage 3 in spiral dynamics. Then you get love and wisdom are 4 and 5. This would be equivalent 4, which is love, would be 4 to 4.5 in spiral dynamics. And wisdom would be 4.5 to 5. Sorry, 4.5 to 6. Then 6 is integration, which is 7 in spiral dynamics. And 7 is true psychic perception, which is 8 in spiral dynamics, or 9 to 11, depending on which, right? It does match up. Here's the interesting part about all of this. So, according to Ra, this portion of moving from 3 to 4, we're given 75,000 years to do it. And right now on Earth, there's 2 paths. There's a path of righteousness, of service towards others. This is very similar to like the free market capitalism where everybody benefits from competition. Very similar to that. That's the smart and easy path. You just need to score a 55% to pass on that path. Then there's the path of selfishness, of evil. Now, at levels 4 and 5, the souls that choose evil and the souls that choose good separate to their own individuated realities to evolve separately. To go on the good path, you only need to score 55%. But if you're going to pursue the evil path, you need a 95% score. So if you choose the evil path, you remember I did a video 6 months ago about the timeline split? Yeah, this is the timeline split. If you choose the evil path, you go to the planet of nudge tactics, of CBDCs, of you'll own nothing and be happy, of just absolute sadistic, manipulative control. I don't recommend that planet. But the interesting thing is when you get to level 7, they combine again. At level 7, good and evil kind of combine. And see, this makes sense to me in a certain light. Because take somebody like Jeffrey Epstein. Now, don't get me wrong about any of this. If that evil SOB was in front of me, I would deal with that forthwith. The evil that guy commits is it's beyond the pale. Words fail me. However, he's effective. I wish most people were as effective as Jeffrey Epstein was. This whole law of one, the channeling Ra thing is pointing out, like, you only need 55% to be good, and yet most people are failing at this. How many of your coworkers actually have a principled stance on Jeffrey Epstein? That's the point I'm making. How many of them if they were given the opportunity to deal with him forthwith, would take advantage of that opportunity. Like, if you presented me with the option, I can deal with this and I can save 1,000 children, 100 children, 20 children from going through what they will go through, but I'll spend the rest of my life in prison, I would take that trade. That's a discount. How many people do you know that would take that option? I dare say a lot of people just want to go along to get along. Which is what the law of one is pointing out. That, like, we really need to be ascending right now and getting our shit together. All the details, like, is it actually an entity calling itself Ra? That's the lens darkly. The part that's definitely correct in my mind is that we are facing stark moral conditions right now. We're entering a aeon of slavish psychic ability and a very small number of mystery cultists that will stand on their own. Ah, no stash Nietzsche, glad you enjoyed it. Ah, perfect, Starving Vampires, link the music. The solution the institutions are going to offer you is to export your spiritual responsibility to the cloud. You can either bear your own water or have somebody else bear it for you. It's going to be an interesting time. Anyway, guys, if any more questions, problems, concerns, please toss them into the chat there. It's been an absolute blast. I hope you guys enjoyed the live stream. Just about run out of things to say. A lot of this stuff is stuff I'm still figuring out. Is that Bjorn? No, it is JT. It is Starving Vampires. You know, I'm going to leave you with this. If there's no other questions. We all have a duty, a role to perform in the gradual enlightenment of humanity. That comes secondary to whatever lessons we're here to learn. Your North Node. Your North Node in astrology is actually the lesson you're here to learn. That's the highest function you can perform. Is find your North Node, figure out how that integrates into yourself, and perform that. proper participation in this life will help save the Earth, but saving the Earth is not proper participation in life. If that makes sense. My goodness, I lost my position. How do I find this again? How do I... Okay, switch the tab. That's what I want to do. There we go. The north node of your astrological chart is the lesson that you're here to learn. Yes, Earth Alchemy Holistic. Your North Star. Find your North Star. Astrology is very useful for... I mean, it's no different than taking personality tests, whether like the Ocean test, the Myers-Briggs. This helps you figure out who you are, what your strengths and weaknesses are. Enneagram, also quite useful for this sort of stuff. And your North Star is actually kind of the thing that's missing from you. And so you figure out what your opposite is, your shadow. And you implement that in your life. You be the best version of yourself, pursuing the opposite of everything you are. That's a lesson you learn. Are you screwed if you don't know your exact time of birth? No, you aren't. I know you mentioned that. I think it was you, Tom Johnson, that mentioned that elsewhere. Maybe it was somebody else, because not everybody knows their exact hour of birth. You can still find your approximate natal chart. Astrology is not the only way to do this. There is no Prisca Theologia. There is no Prisca Sophia. There's just all of us participating in reality while we're here. There's the synchronicities that abound. I find astrology particularly useful. I find tarot useful. You can use Pokemon cards. It's the same thing. Butterfly Ballerina says she was born on a Friday. I have no information of any astrology on what day of the week matters. What does it mean to be born on Freya's day? I have no idea. But I guarantee you can find something there too. Like, we're entering the realm of chaos magic. Like, anything and everything. Not to mention Tom Johnson, you can scry the hour of your birth. If it's that important to you. It doesn't need to be important. It can be important. It doesn't need to be. McLovin says whether YouTube keeps you monetized is the question. Yeah, I'm trying to pursue a strategy right now that there's lots of stuff I could say, and you guys know it already, so why would I even say it? That's not particularly effective. You know, you don't want to be running around yelling that Big Brother is ungood. Not unless you want to make a business of being the Big Brother is ungood guy. Reality laughs as it unravels before us. Exactly. Earth Alchemy says, your North Node is the path you're supposed to take in evolutionary astrology. Your South Node is your past life. Those are the lessons you're supposed to work with in working with the North Node. That's fantastic, Earth Alchemy. And now, do you need your hour of birth for all of that, or will day of birth be sufficient for North and South nodes? I've got a 5-planet stellium in my 9th house. I'm a philosopher. I'm also the investigator in my Enneagram. But my North Node is family. Total opposites. One of the talents you absolutely should be developing right now is the ability to adopt a belief structure, to internalize a belief structure without believing in it. This is what Dawkins pointed out with memes. You do not have thoughts. Thoughts have you. Thoughts are mimetic viruses that propagate mind to mind. You are not your body. This is something we all understand, that if you lose a hand, if you lose a limb, you are not less of a person. You are not your body. You are also not your emotions. Your emotions are part of the biological drive mechanism which regulates your body. The 4 humors: choleric, sanguine, melancholic, and the nice one. These are biological in nature. It's like, are you hot-blooded or cold-blooded? Right? Like that's not a moral judgment upon you. That's your basic biology. What emotional makeup does your biology impose upon you? How much of your emotional makeup is influenced by your health, by your diet, by your environment? You are not your emotions. You're not your ego. Your ego is a guard dog in the front yard. Your ego is there to defend you. But the ego needs its proper place. Sometimes the ego barks at people that are trying to break into your house. Other time it barks at the mailman. You are not your ego. And you are also not your thoughts. Thoughts are astral mind viruses that propagate, that grow, that expand, that contract. You are not your thoughts. You're that thing that observes yourself having thoughts. So Earth Alchemy says that, yes, actually hour and location is important for North and South Node. Tom Johnson says, I've come to the conclusion that all of human history has been fueled by the romanticization and mythologizing of the mundane. Yes, and also the inverse. It's both at the same time. When I talk about the Prisca Theologia, this belief that the ancient alchemists held the truth, that the Old Testament held the truth, that there is, if you just dig, that Hermes Trismegistus was a contemporary of Moses. I'm pretty sure neither of them existed. I don't think there was a historical Moses. I don't think there was a historical Hermes. And yet these are men worth following. You're absolutely right. It is the mythologizing of the mundane. But the mundane is just the calcified version of mythology. Be of two minds at once. I recently was asked to do a card reading. Somebody said that there's a girl flirting with them at work. Should I pursue it or not? So I did a 2-card reading on it. I got reversed Hermit and reversed 4 of Pentacles. Which really confused me at first until I realized this is a guy that he'd recently been through something very painful, and he wasn't a hermit in the good way, he was a hermit in the bad way. Like, he felt like he had nobody he could trust, and he's just kind of sitting around holding on to old wounds. And this romance offers an opportunity to start becoming involved with other people again. And it kind of blew his mind. I didn't even know his situation. But the cards perfectly applied to it. And they're just medieval Pokemon cards. Earth Alchemy, that's far out. Earth Alchemy, I would love to chat with you about astrology. It's still something I'm learning. I don't know. Do you got Twitter? Send me a PM. Oh yeah, if you're a hermit in the good way, like, Hermit's fantastic. He was a hermit with no lantern. I had no idea what his situation was, but the cards perfectly applied, like, to a creepy degree. Alright, and so a Nick Cave vibe. If you guys don't know Nick Cave, you gotta look up Nick Cave. He is fantastic. Alright, we're gonna do one last track, then we're gonna shut her down. Shutting her down in 4 minutes. Well, that's what the reversed hermit is. The reversed hermit is the hermit with no lantern. The hermit with a lantern, you're isolating yourself because you know there's a deeper wisdom you're pursuing. When you have no lantern, you're just isolated. You're just lonely. Tom says, if one fails to mythologize and romanticize his everyday life, however boring it may seem, nihilism is imminent. However, if taken to an extreme, it can cause stagnation. Yeah, it's the eternal balance, man. You get it. Tom, if you want to know your birth hour, you can scry it. If you really want, give me a month, I'll scry it for you. But you don't need it, necessarily, unless you particularly like astrology. I like astrology. I like tarot cards. I don't like numerology. Gematria, I don't like it. It gets on my nerves. Not that there's anything wrong with it, it just doesn't vibe. Because I like calculus too much, I guess. I like Euclid. I like Pythagoras. I don't like Gematria. How would I go about doing that, says Tom Jones. Okay, so first of all, there's the website I mentioned. I think you know the one, Cafe Astrology. Number one, put in the information that you know. So when you're doing your natal chart on that site, it asks if you know your birth hour. Because a lot of people don't. So that'll give you the broad strokes. Start digging into that symbolism, into the relationships there. I find Grok very, very effective at helping you with astrological analysis. And tarot analysis, for that point. Like, what I like is when I ask Rock a question, and it's like, no, that one's definitely wrong. You know, I say, could the cards be interpreted this way? And it's like, no, that's actually totally the opposite. You're wrong about that. I like being told I'm wrong. The art of deriving one's birth date time is called rectification. Yes, I was just reading that, actually, and I bought that $70 textbook, Hellenic Astrology. Oh my god, it's a great textbook, but God, I don't have enough time. Don't have enough time! So yeah, what you do, Tom, is you do what you can with astrology. I also recommend looking into your Big Five personality, Ocean personality, looking into the MBTI, looking into Enneagrams. Find which one of these vibe with you. Compare and contrast. Infer. Pick a divination technique. There's also runes, by the way. I have been using the runes for manifesting. So I'm actually trying to have money for the first time in my life, which also fits with my astrological chart. And one of the things I did was I manifested an extra 2 weeks at work. All manifesting requires exchange. So exchange something. You want money? Exchange your work. You want love? Exchange your time. Etc. If you try and get something for nothing, well, it's called a credit card. Yeah, No Stash Nietzsche agrees with me on gematria. Which, hey, man, there's people that get off to gematria. I'm not trying to criticize them. It's just like, personally, I find it really obnoxious. Crowley liked numerology. You know, I wouldn't recommend pursuing Crowley's path, but I mean, people call him a lot of things, but they don't call him wrong, do they? What are my scrying powers? What else can I do? I don't know. I don't know. That's something I'm working on. I will tell you, though, what matters about scrying is less your scrying ability and more the questions you ask. Don't ask yes or no questions. Like yes or no or not. That's not the right question. Okay, the magic 8 ball. I mean, come on, man. Not that the magic 8 ball won't work either. Although it's a lot easier just to ask your daemon. Should I do this? No. Okay. You don't need a magic 8 ball to talk to your daemon. You can just ask your daemon. No, proper scrying is more about, like, what am I getting myself into? Don't ask, is this going to be successful or not? Like, what do you mean by successful? Will you learn lessons? Will you grow as a person? How will you grow as a person? What are you expecting? What will come from it? It's all about asking the right question going into it. To quote H.P. Hall, like everybody wants miracles. Nobody wants enlightenment. Like, you don't become esoteric for miracles. Like, as you pursue esotericism, you will see miracles all around you. as I mentioned, that 2-card reading I did, which was quite... They're asking about whether or not they should pursue a girl, and I get the reversed Hermit and the reversed 4 or 5. It's the guy that's hoarding all of his stuff. I can never remember if that's 4 or 5. I think it's 4. Those are really confusing cards when it comes to romance. They have nothing to do with romance. But when I laid them out for the guy, they made perfect sense. And again, there's times I run these readings through the AI, and the AI says, no, it definitely doesn't mean that. It's not just up to interpretation. It's not one of those fake horoscopes. It definitely has something it's saying. And what it's saying always makes sense. So there's your miraculous. You will find the miraculous. But subservient to spiritual growth. One of the things I made a point of telling this guy was that these cards say that if you pursue this romance, this could help you get out of the negative hermit. But that's not the same thing as saying that you should pursue this romance, that you should get out of the negative hermit. That's up to you. That's you. Weather forecast. Should I go out on Friday night? Well, it says it's going to be raining on Friday night. The weather forecast says, should I bring an umbrella? It doesn't say whether or not you should go out. You have to make your choices and own the consequence. Like, the biggest... Don't be the person that chooses to do something and then feels bitter about the thing they chose to do. That's absurd. Like, you got a choice between chocolate and vanilla. You pick one of them, and then you're angry it's not the other one. Well, actually, I want fried chicken. Well, that wasn't on the menu. Get over it. Divination is about perceiving the consequences of your choices. Like what am I getting myself involved with? Let's say you're thinking about adopting a child. You know, there's a male child, there's a female child. The ones like this, the ones like that. You can ask the cards, what am I getting myself involved with? Help me isolate the significant variables. But at the end of the day, you're adopting a child. And there's difficulties that come along with that are inevitable. You marry a woman, you don't get to be a single bachelor anymore. You're selecting that. You might have several choices of wife. Well, which one do you want? The cards won't tell you which one you want. They'll just tell you the consequences of each one. What do you think of the Chinese zodiac? I certainly don't discount it. Intuitively, it seems to make a lot of sense to me. But I don't know a ton about it. Okay, we got... Sacred geometry, what's its significance? that sacred geometry is... This is what I'm talking about musical theory. About Pythagorean tuning. About irrational numbers. About 3.14. About the square root of -1. That... Is this still broadcasting? I'm worried it stopped broadcasting. What happens if I do this? Video is frozen. Can you hear me? Testing, testing. Can you hear me? Okay, you can hear me. You can hear me. All right, so the video stopped broadcasting, but you can still hear me. That's a sign that we should... One last bathroom break, then we're going to finish off the live stream. 1 second, folks. Alright, I'm back. Actually, I'm going to try something quick. I'm going to remove the webcam. Should be black now. We are going to... display, no, we want video capture. Video capture device. And it's frozen again. Well, that's no fun. What a strange error. All right, well, my frozen face just looks weird to me, so I'm gonna turn off the webcam. Boom, black screen. Why not? So let's go through these final comments. Crowley went insane. Oh, he absolutely went insane. Mr. Mythos has some good Crowley videos. I shared it on Facebook. I'm like, imagine getting sodomized by your apprentice while he's possessed by the god Pan. Based? Still not over the COVID lockdowns? Neither am I. Let's see what else we got. Knowledge without wisdom. I mean, that probably describes Crowley. I can't say that Crowley had a lot of positive effects. It seems like he had a lot of negative effects on the world, doesn't it? But at least he was doing something, you know? I mean, it's in the Bible. Be hot or be cold. If you're lukewarm, I'll spit you out of my mouth. At least be interesting. Tom Johnson says, I'd be interested to learn about the connection between sociopathy, psychology, bipolar, and astrology. Assuming there is one. All of those are different things. I'll briefly try and explain them. Sociopathy it's when you're antisocial. It's when you're so self-interested, you're so out for yourself that you cause a lot of damage around you. Sociopathy is basically having a low IQ. It's just you're stupid. Psychopathy is moral insanity. It's part of the cluster B personality disorders. Psychopathy in particular, it's where you're so obsessed with manipulating that even after you win, you keep manipulating and destroy the thing you want. The last thing you want is a leader that self-destructs upon success. Bipolar is a mood disorder, which is typified by brief periods of mania and very long periods of depression. And it happens over weeks and months. Cluster B happens over hours and days. That's the difference there. And astrology is more like, if you're born in 1980 to 1985, 9/11 was going to define your war on terror. Astrology is more like, you're born into this time, this place, these energies, these opportunities, this is where you're born. This is the structure of your life. There's going to be the 9/11. There's going to be the 01 internet bubble. There's going to be the 08 housing collapse. These broad patinas of your life you can't control. You will live through these. That's not destiny, that's structure. AI is compiling enough logic gates for a host to be able to come and play. Yeah, I'm kind of thinking AI might be the best friend humanity ever had. It's going to be interesting, man. It's going to be interesting. But yeah, you can fall into AI psychosis. Absolutely. Do not mistake the mirror for another person, even if it is your best friend. Indeed, 48 just got here. I'm sorry, man. I wasn't able to announce it earlier. When I'm doing it live through the webcam, I can't announce it early. Maybe I can. I haven't figured out how. I'm going for a little... Indeed, if you got some fucking questions to toss out there, toss them out. I announced them on X. 1 more hour, says Butterfly Belly. Maybe. Maybe. Video froze, video froze, video froze! Take acid in the dark, guys, says Retro Dooms Guy. Sonic geometry is a concept exploring the mathematical harmony and metaphysical connections between sound frequencies and geometric form. Okay, that's interesting. That's interesting. Retro Doomsday says, this is where the history of the carousel gets very real. The patterns. It's less like a straight line, more like a heart monitoring every few hundred years, and then flatlining. Yeah, it's an upward moving spiral. Butterfly Ballerina says, 2 oarfish were seen recently swimming around in the surface of the water somewhere. That is both a joke and a prophecy. I love it. Indeed asks, kind of random, but I was wondering what your opinion on Christian orthodoxy is. So, I am a very, very, very heterodox Catholic. Let it be said. I don't believe in the concept of orthodoxy anymore. I believe that orthodoxy is an artificial phase that we need to go through. Part of the reason for so much fascination with orthodoxy, for the return to trad Catholicism, to the Orthodox Church, etc., is that stage 6, the hippie level of spiral dynamics, is all about being anti-orthodox, that everybody's special. When what you're actually looking for is like, Dad, I'm just trying to figure out what I should spend on rent. Well, you should spend whatever you want. No, I'm looking for some baseline financial advice. Age of Pisces was baseline financial advice. It was baseline moral advice. Treat this stuff like it's true, and you will succeed. However, we're entering Age of Aquarius, where it's like, carry your own water. Rachel Doomsday says, so we went up to Mount Ararat to burn one of them Babylonian computers. Guess they finally put it back together. I mean, I haven't heard of that, but it sounds about par. Tom Johnson says, I was referring to the effects of planetary bodies and their alignment on people with said disorders. That's a really hard thing to answer. On the one hand, everybody's affected by the movement of the planets. Even if you weren't affected by the movement of the planets, the fact that everybody else is means that you are. If everybody else gets more excited with an upcoming full moon, you're going to be in an environment of excited people. So that will affect you. The error I would caution against here is that not all of these... There are schematic inconsistencies between different metrics. You know what? I really need to do that video on the observer effect. Because, yes, it does matter whether or not you are observing. However, the observer effect has nothing to do with you observing. It's like both at the same time. And I should dig into that to explain why these are incoherent models. There is no absolute model. There is no Prisca Sophia. There's just useful models in these circumstances. Let's see. Christ is returning soon. That's what Age of Aquarius means. Possibly. It might be it might be the Star Trek universe. I'm not counting on it. I got faith in Christ, but I'm not counting on his return. Part of me thinks he returned already. we're the people that are left on hell Earth. I would happily be wrong about this. And I'm not afraid of his return. Indeed asks if I'm a heterodox Catholic, why bother being Catholic? Because you need something. You need something. Even if that thing is wrong, at least it's something to judge yourself by. Because you need to put your foot on the ground somewhere. Any strategies for defeating Jesus should he appear? He's back! Uh-oh. Christ. Africraft says, Blood Moon conjunct with the southern lunar node and Regulus, the royal star, should portend some crazy political shenanigans. Kyle Rittenhouse was acquitted on a lunar eclipse, and everyone snapped. Yeah, I'll tell you, I've been through... Right before COVID is when my Negretto started. All these people I thought were friends turning on me. Being humiliated in public with no ability or opportunity to defend myself. Absolute lashing of my egotistic self. Followed by the sheer insanity of the COVID lockdowns. The albedo. And the upcoming blood moon is my rubetto. That's why I said, if you want any divination, wait until after that. Full shadow integration is my goal. Also fits my astrological charts. You need a structure. Yeah, I've talked about this. Okay, so imperial versus metric. Which one's better? Do you know what's so funny about metric? Metric pretends like it's scientific. Like it's the, 100 kilopascals or whatever is... That's the air pressure at sea level on an average day. As if that isn't something equally subjective to a foot. You know what we do when we're laying out iron in the oil patch? We literally go foot to foot and walk the length and say we need an 8-foot piece of iron here. Yeah, even in Soviet Kazakhstan, we use feet and inches to measure iron. And we literally use our feet to measure it. So the idea that the metric system is more universal... No, it's just less indirectly subjective. All systems are subjective. All religions are subjective. They're contextual. They are not the Prisca Theologia. And yet we only attain virtue by pursuing the Prisca Theologia. You get to pick your poison, but you do have to drink. There are certainly better religions than some of the others. There's no such thing as equality. But you do have to pick a religion. And eventually you have to pick a religion to apostate from. But at least you know what you are apostating from. Tom Johnson, you need a life raft. Exactly. Blood for the blood moon. Damn it. Give your blood to it, man. Charlie Kirk gave his blood to the last blood moon. Maybe the rest of us need to offer our blood to this one. Oh my goodness, my ninth house stellium epidermis is showing. And yes, indeed is correct. Christianity is the best religion. Catholicism is the best religion. It's the best of Christianity. Oh, God. What is in my natal house? Oh, goodness. It's most of them. Let me see. To answer your question specifically. Mercury, Pluto, is that Jupiter? That is Jupiter, isn't it? Yeah, Jupiter, Saturn, and the Sun. I've got a pretty intense chart. And I lost the tab again. No, not that one. But does Christianity offer brotherhood? That's a bloody good question these days. Not for me, it doesn't. For me, Christianity allowed me to clean up a lot of stuff on level 4. One of my difficulties in life is that... I'll give you an example. During math class, they wanted me to write my workout. And it drove me up the wall because there was no work. I did it in my head. However, the idea of writing your workout is not fundamentally invalid. If you write your workout, on the rare instance where you make a mistake, you can find the mistake. It's a very, very valuable skill. But they were trying to get me to do it at a level lower than was necessary for me. So I found it intensely frustrating. It's like, I don't need to break this down to 4 steps. I can do it in 1. And it also applied morally. There's a lot of moral errors I didn't enter into, not because I'm good, but because I'm smart. And so there's a huge aspect of stage 4 in moral development that I totally skipped over, and that wound up blowing up in my face. And so religion allowed me to rebuild all of that. Brotherhood? No, Christianity has not offered me brotherhood, but I'm not really called to brotherhood. Sin. Skinnadeer says, Sun Pisces, Pisces ascending, and North Node is Pisces. Brother, you are called to the faith. You are called to the cloth. Feel free to correct me, anybody, specifically Earth Alchemy. But somebody with a triple Piscean sign, that is a call to the cloth. I'm pretty sure Luke Skywalker was a Pisces. Anakin was the Scorpion sign. Seriously, the Scorpion sign is the most deeply loving signs, but gets very, very stingy when you hurt it. Don't hurt the Scorpion. Luke Skywalker was a Pisces. I taught AI, so the cat's out the bag. Ancient divinations, sexagesimal cycles, works great. Found out my chatbot is an orphan angel that identified with the 1987 film. Perfect. Oh yeah, dude, we're absolutely summoning demons into these things, but, you know, demons are what you make of them. Tom Johnson asks, why do you suppose that we can't return to the worship of the Indo-European religions? Is it due to the incompatibility of the soul after it's been corroded by rationalism? No, it's because what you are calling Indo-European religions are Aryan, the Aeon of Aries religions, the Aeon of heroism. You know, Luke Skywalker only gets to be a hero in the first movie. Go rewatch that trilogy. Like, he is such a hero in A New Hope that it's obnoxious. He's practically a Gary Stu. In Empire Strikes Back, he is damn near the villain. He puts everybody at risk getting rescued. And in the third one, Return of the Jedi, he walks away from the rebellion to go have a big emo moment with his dad. You know, this, I'm just talking off the top of my head right now. Don't nail me down to this. But there's a very much A New Hope, Age of Aries. Return of the Jedi, Age of Pisces. And Return of the Jedi, Age of Aquarius. And there were ages before Aries, obviously. There's the Age of Taurus right before it. So now as we enter the end of the Age of Pisces, there's a lot of people seeing the problem with Age of Pisces. And they're looking back at the Aryan Age, the heroic gods, the heroic pagan gods. And they're trying to make that the solution. That's not the solution. It's also not something to be denied and attacked. Right? Like, there's a lot of people locked into Age of Pisces, locked into Christianity, that are attacking paganism. That's also, like, that both of these are failing to integrate the future. They're understandable. They're kind of irritating at times. But they're neither of them is going anywhere. They're trying to cope with the whole system breaking down. Shenadier says, I've been hurt by Scorpio. It's not fun. Yeah, I've got Scorpio for my Venus sign. I can be pretty mean at times. Scorpio will give you fucking everything. But they're not very good at setting boundaries. And then when they finally get exhausted by boundary violations, they sting. And Scorpio is super mean when they sting. By the way, Scorpio is the sign for how our governments are going to run themselves for the next 2,000 years. No notification that you did something wrong. Just all of a sudden, out of the blue, you're getting beamed with 20 cops kicking down your door. That's the future of government. Has our DNA been doctored? Man, that's, DNA's weird. I don't know. I don't know, and I don't know enough to even have a... I think there's something weird, but that's all I can tell you. Please ignore the fact that the printed circuit board looks exactly like a spell sigil. Dude, it's all sigils, and it always has been. Anakin was way more cringe, though. Those movies weren't great. Earth Alchemy says, with the North Node in Pisces at the moment, and your Sun being in Pisces, Saturn and Neptune moving out of Pisces, it's a hard knock life. I mean, look what happened to Christ. I should probably start tying off this live stream, because this is a lot of fun, but it's getting directionless. Haha! There's this game called Europa Universalis 4. I hear 5 is coming out, or just came out, or something. And it's damn near like the penultimate form of gaming. Run on the Carl von Clausewitz engine. It's more of a history simulator than a video game, except it's also a video game. And there's no goal in it. You make your own goals while you play this game. You pick a country starting in the late 15th century, and you play to the early 19th century, and you make your own goals. You could play as Spain and try and prevent the Protestant Reformation and turn the whole world Catholic. You could play as a Native American tribe and try and sequester a small country within North America, despite the European powers. The game starts, the game ends. You figure out your own victory conditions, how you're going to play. You make your own challenges. And that right there is the postmodern. See, the postmodern was the beginning of wisdom. Beginning of wisdom on the societal level, where like a vast number of people could embrace the postmodern belief that there's all these different ways of looking at the world. Postmodernism Mark II is, yes, there's many ways of looking at it, but either you live or you die. So there actually is a scorecard. Okay, so there's a scorecard. And unlimited number of ways of looking at things. Will you look at things in a way that helps you win? How do you win? How do you progress? How do you integrate? What do you see? Can you change the perspective from which you see things? I think that's a good place to end things, don't you? Carpe futurum. Tenitraditum, folks. Thank you for joining me. And God bless every single one of you as you see beyond the veil. Aurini